the World Culture Festival. On the final day, we had 1.1 million people.
Wow.
It was about bringing the people from all over the world together. We felt like we were doing something that was bigger than ourselves. Having that big vision trumps everything.
Rajneesh Gupta, the global head of partnership and partner and managing director over at AlixPartners, scaling teams across 6 different countries.
A lot of what we do, especially at the senior level in organizations, is to drive change, is to connect with people. Meditation, breathwork is the greatest professional development tool. When your mind is settled, you can think big, connect with people better, you have more energy.
This is not something they're teaching in MBA programs. You can overcome a lot of challenges that way.
I'm always conscious of what I do and how I do it. Both are equally important to me. The effect you're having on people and how they're feeling about the work that's being done.
Very powerful. You've had a lot of success. What's the secret?
What's coming to my mind is
welcome back to CEO Tech Live, brought to you by Hexaware. I'm your host, Ben Fanning, and wow, just wait until you hear from today's guest. Today we have Rajneesh Gupta, who is the global head of partnership and partner and managing director over at AlixPartners. Rajneesh, welcome to the show today, my friend.
Thank you for having me, Ben.
What's been your favorite leadership lesson?
Favorite leadership lesson? Oh God, over the years I've had so many. The one that comes to my mind right now is something that I saw unfold right in front of my eyes in 2023, which is how inspiration and motivation trumps everything when it comes to getting people to do the work. So year of 2023, I'm associated with a foundation called the Art of Living Foundation. I volunteer for them. And the foundation was celebrating their 40 years of existence, and they decided to throw a large party. It was called the World Culture Festival. And it was in Washington, D.C., in the National Mall. And the idea was how food and sports unite people. We are going to bring people from all over the world and unite them through cultures and music. So about 150 countries got represented. There was thousands of artists. And on the final day, we had 1.1 million participants, 1.1 million people who showed up to enjoy the show. And I was sitting there and I was thinking, really, this massive organization, any large company, for example, the company that I work for or any other company would have spent months planning it. And they would have had an army of professionals who would have put this together. And here we are, just a bunch of volunteers with some inspiration and a lot of enthusiasm, pulling together a show which is probably, amongst the greatest shows I have seen in the world. Performers from 150 countries, 1.1 million participants showing up without any professional help. And I was reflecting on the leadership lesson on how this actually happened. And for me, the biggest leadership lesson was everyone had a vision that was bigger than themselves. They wanted to it was not about pulling together a show. It was about really uniting people, giving them a way to come together. And what really gave them the energy was their background in meditation and breathwork, which is something that has had a profound effect on me. When you have the right mindset and you're given the right inspiration, you can accomplish something that is way beyond your normal capabilities. And that was a big lesson for me.
I know the listeners might have been thinking, oh, easy to get 1 million plus people together if you have the Rolling Stones or U2. But this is meditation. I mean, this is something that people maybe don't associate with big crowds, big inspiration.
You're so right, Ben. And, in fact, that was a conversation we were having as a team. We were like, hey, we want to pull together a big show. We want a lot of people. Why not? Let's get a big name. And we went with this proposal to the founder of Art of Living Foundation, Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankar. And he made a statement that I thought was so profound. He was like, see, if you bring in a big artist, they already have a big stage. So you're not really doing anything big for them. What we are going to do is we are going to bring artists who don't have a big stage and give them a big stage. That is when we have pulled together a show that is really meaningful, not just to the people who come to watch the show, but also participants who are performing in the show.
After putting on such an incredible event, what was the end result of this day and what ended up happening?
Yeah. So, our goal was obviously to bring people together and show them that at the end of the day, we are all one in some ways. We all have our different cultures, different music, different food, different ways of thinking, but there's fundamentally something that brings us together. So that was really the big goal. And then our hope was that people would find meditation and breathwork something that they want to add to their life. And we found a lot of people really getting more curious about adding meditation to their daily life.
So you can't go through putting an event together like that and not be changed a little bit yourself. Mm-hmm. What change did you notice for you? And I'm curious, how did that end up informing how you lead today?
Yeah. What changed for me is just my confidence in my ability to think big and deliver big. Because as I reflected on the event, it was like, originally we probably thought we would be lucky if we get 100,000 people. And then as more and more people started to RSVP, we got 500, 600,000 RSVPs. And I was really worried, how are we going to handle so many people? And then 600,000 people RSVP, 1.1 million people actually showed up. That was really, that caused me to have so much confidence that I can accomplish things beyond what I had imagined. So I really need to think big, and I need to help my teams break the shackles and really think big and bold beyond what we may have normally been thinking in our work environment.
Wow. So what do you do to talk to your team about this moment when they haven't themselves, they didn't get to attend the event, right? They don't, and you're sharing this, and maybe you're trying to shift their mindset on how they think about how big things could be or what the possibilities were. How do you talk to them about it?
I think it all starts with how I think about things, how I talk about things for my team. So if I'm keeping a big vision, if I'm thinking big, then the teams automatically latch on to that energy, which is what I saw happen in the World Culture Festival as well. The founder, Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankar, he had a big vision for the event. And we all latched on to that energy that, we can, without any professional training of organizing events like this, we can pull together something that is going to be the greatest show on the earth.
Bringing this to a very tactical level, how does meditation, and this is not something they're teaching in MBA programs across the land. You're really enjoy this. You found it to be profound. How are you working this into your work, and what is like a professional impact?
Yeah, it's a great question, Ben. And I would say meditation, breathwork, is the greatest professional development tool that is available to mankind. And I would like to share that it's not that they're not recognizing and teaching that in universities. They're teaching that in universities now. And they are. Okay. I'm really delighted to hear that. In fact, the kind of meditation that I follow, which is the Art of Living meditation techniques, Yale University has a big program, and I think Art of Living Foundation has arrangements with 108 universities in the United States to teach their programs in the university.
So it's here now.
It's here now. It's here now. My daughter goes to Dartmouth, and I'm very proud of her. And this semester, she is doing a course in meditation, which is offered by the university, and I know Harvard offers it. So it is becoming more and more mainstream because everybody recognizes that it's not just something that you do in your personal life for your personal accomplishments, which is very important, but it's also a professional development too. I think at the end of the day, if you think about leadership, if you think about the work we do in organizations, when your mind is settled, you can think big, and you can connect with people better, and you have more energy to deliver on what you plan to do. And meditation gives you all of that. It gives you a way to relax your mind. The real creative thought, Ben, if you really think about it, only comes when your mind is fully settled. If our mind is totally stressed and it's all over the place, a completely innovative and fundamentally new thought cannot come in a mind like that. But when the mind settles down, creativity blossoms on its own. And then when the mind is settled, you also connect with people better. And a lot of what we do, especially at the senior level in organizations, is to drive change, is to connect with people.
Yes.
And when your mind is settled, people want to be with you. And you have a way to authentically really understand the other person. So that's another thing meditation gives you. And also energy. A lot of people think that meditation is about settling your mind, which it is. But when you settle your mind, what you get is energy. And what do you do with your energy? You have an impact in your organizations. So I think it's the greatest professional development tool available to mankind.
I think you persuaded me into that category. And it's one of the things I like about it, I know you talk about it, is it's so accessible. You don't have to go off to do something. You don't have to, you can just do it right where you are. It's even easier than going to the gym.
It's definitely easier. You don't need any prop. All you need is a place to sit and you just dive within. You can do it on a plane, in a car, anywhere.
Yeah. And I think everybody can probably relate to the fact that, number one, this idea about presence, when someone's really present with you and you're present with your team, you're going to build trust. You're going to have a better relationship. People are going to want to work harder for you. They'll listen to your vision.
Yeah.
And we get so distracted. It just it's like going out to dinner with your friend or your spouse and having your cell phone on the table.
Yeah.
You're not going to have a great experience together if that's the situation.
Well said. See, at the end of the day, leadership is about setting big vision, giving the proper direction to the team, but it has a lot to do with authenticity. And authenticity by nature cannot be faked. And authenticity comes to you when you genuinely care for the other person, when you genuinely, like you're saying, are present with the other person. That comes only when your mind is settled. If you're totally stressed and your mind is all over the place, that's what you're going to pass on to your teams. And that's not what you need from your teams. So bringing that authentic self, meditation is a tool that helps you do that.
When have you had a twist or failure in your career and how did it lead to your success or growth on down the road?
Yeah, it's interesting, Ben, this question as well. A lot of what I have learned in my professional life has been informed by the work I do with the Art of Living Foundation as a volunteer. It's way more complicated than actually working in an organization structure. So when I think about failures, which I have had many, what's coming to my mind is about 10, 15 years back, I had organized a big event for the Art of Living Foundation, and it was in Dallas, and there was hundreds of volunteers working for that big, large event because the founder, Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankar, was going to visit Dallas, and we were going to organize big meditation events and public talk for him. And when the events happened, they were smashing success. Just exactly how we would have imagined. It was beautiful. Everything was very, very well organized. And I was so proud of myself. But once the events were done, and I was talking to all the volunteers who had put in their heart and soul in pulling this event together, nobody was happy. And I was just like, we just had smashing success. We had such great events. And here nobody's happy. And what I learned talking to everybody about the events and how they are feeling was that they felt that I was so concerned about making the event success that I didn't really care for them. I was pushing the volunteers too hard. I was being rude with them. And, I was just not being caring and nice to people. And that showed up. And at the end of the day, events were successful, but everybody who worked for the events felt like, it didn't really work for me.
Wow.
So the lesson for me really was that both are important. What you do and how you do it, both are important. And no matter how important the work we are doing, it's really meaningful to think about the effect you're having on people and how they're feeling about the work that's being done. Because at the end of the day, people don't remember what you have, what you know. What they remember is how you make them feel. And in this particular event, we did a great job, but I did not make people feel good about themselves. So that has stayed with me.
Wow.
And as I, bring that to my work life, I'm always conscious of what I do and how I do it. Both are equally important to me.
Very powerful. Because in that example, it sounds like the people who attended had a great experience. And we think about our end customer, what they have a great experience, but our team is the engine behind it and trying to make their experience good while you're also having your end customer have a good experience is really, it can feel like a very tricky thing to make happen.
Yeah. And it cannot be sustainable. So, I could pull together an event like that once. If I had to do it again with how the team was feeling, even the end customer wouldn't have felt great about it.
So you got your first win.
Yes.
But then like the second and third, the team they'd be burned out or they'd be tired.
They have to feel great about what we are doing. Yeah. So to sustain end customer impact, you need to ensure that, teams are feeling good about what's being delivered. So the end customer feels great about what they receive.
So at high stakes, you've had a lot of high stakes moments in your career. This event that you did, high stakes, because you're having the leader of the organization there. What do you do, or what's your advice to leaders? I'm thinking to do along to ensure that the team is having a good experience.
Like I said earlier, first it comes with authenticity. And authenticity by definition, like I said, cannot be faked. So my style and what I have seen work well with organizations, with everybody else who I work with, be your genuine self and be authentic. And my authentic self has a lot of strengths, has a lot of weaknesses, and I bring both of them to the work. When I'm vulnerable, it allows people to be vulnerable. But what's also important as a leader is that everybody should have a vision, an inspiration that is bigger than what we may be doing. Right? So, for example, when we were organizing the World Culture Festival, it wasn't about putting together a party. It was about bringing the people from all over the world together. We felt like we were doing something that was bigger than ourselves, and the impact it would have in the world, where people would see that, at the end of the day, we are one in some ways. Having that big vision is very, very important. But what's also important is then breaking that down very quickly and having a proper direction, so the energy is channelized. When the water is channelized, it can create life-giving river. But when it's not channelized, it can create floods. And it's leaders' responsibility to provide those channels that direct the energy, the force of the team that you have.
Wow, I like that metaphor. Over the years, what's been your biggest source of inspiration, and what's a challenging time that'll help get you through?
My biggest source of inspiration by far has been the founder of Art of Living Foundation, Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. He's a spiritual master, and he's one of the most well-known thought leaders in meditation today. And everybody sees him as a spiritual leader. But I have seen him work in action. He's got presence, his foundation has got presence in 180 countries. So, and he has to run this foundation. So he's also a CEO, if you will, or a leader of this organization, which has more than 1 million volunteers.
Wow.
And to be able to inspire 1 million volunteers, more than 1 million volunteers, to take time from their life and do something that is meaningful, that's something that, that's really worth learning. And he was once asked, how does he do that? People get paid to do work and they still don't find that much enthusiasm in their workforces as we find in volunteers that he has working for Art of Living Foundation. And his answer has always stayed with me. He said that, people would do anything for love. So when they receive love, they are willing to really go beyond themselves and do anything that you would need them to do. And that, that love has to be authentic. And I personally feel that, I do receive that from the foundation, from him, which is what causes me to come here, talk about it, but also, put my time and energy into it.
Wow, that's powerful. The L word doesn't get mentioned enough in business, love. And if we're willing to consider how we can let that infuse our leadership philosophy, our relationships, on the other side of that, I can see so much trust, so much inspiration and connectivity, and you can overcome a lot of challenges that way.
Yeah.
And do big things as you all have.
Yeah. As teams, we want people to challenge each other. We want to have good disagreements with each other. A lot of times disagreements can shrink you, right? And arguments can really pull you down. And then there are other times when you're energized by arguments, when you feel you're reaching better answers, but when you have arguments and debates. And for me, the difference that I have seen is the debates that really pull you up versus debates that pull you down. The difference is the trust. So when you are with people who you have a foundation of trust with, when they disagree with you, you feel like you're really elevating the conversation. But when there are individuals who you do not trust or who don't trust you, when you have debates and disagreements with them, it really pulls you down. So the foundation of trust is really what makes a difference. And that comes from love, authenticity.
Yeah. Well, this might be an interesting segue. What's it been like working with Hexaware on this?
Yeah, so it's Hexaware have been great partners to us.
How does this flow together?
Yeah,
in some way,
because I feel like so as global head of partnerships, my job is to really work with the best of the best outside of the outside world and bring them in service to our clients at AlixPartners. And Hexaware has been a great partner. I think they have great talent, and they also very good at working with the partnerships with the art of possible. When you bring two companies together, it's always the art of the possible, because AlixPartner has a certain vision, Hexaware has a certain vision, but most important, we come together in service to our mutual clients, and a lot of time that requires the art of the possible, and I enjoy finding the art of the possible with Hexaware.
As the listeners heard, you've had a lot of success in this specific kind of thing, because a lot of where you're taking a huge entity that you work for and you're finding other good partner organizations. And the question that comes to mind here for me is, you're kind of representing thousands of people and you're in engaging organizations of thousands of people. What's the secret to taking people who don't know each other, may never meet, but yet they're creating a positive partnership, and you're kind of like in the middle of all this?
Yeah. I think, partnerships across organization really starts with creating a common vision and a common problem that you're trying to solve. When you align on the problem that you're trying to solve and a common vision of how you're going to solve the problem, everything else becomes easier. And then as you think about partnerships, the other important thing is leadership alignment. So when you're going to work through problems together, two different organizations with, two different ways of working, there's always going to be problems. And the way you resolve those problems really quickly is by having alignment at the top level. So the teams who are working on trying to resolve it understand that, there is this strong alignment on what we want to do, and things get resolved more easily. And then the other thing is, if you try to solve everything together, it becomes harder. So taking bite-sized chunks at problems and then solving them one by one.
Okay. That's a great playbook. So it sounds like you spend a lot of your time with the partners, really crystallizing that common vision. And then what I'm hearing is then we spend a lot of time making sure everybody inside our organizations understands that vision.
Yes.
Because otherwise they're not going to be able to work together effectively.
Yeah. I'd heard a story, Ben, which is, it's a common story about there was construction workers breaking stones. And then you go to one construction worker, ask them what they're doing. It's like, I'm breaking stones. And then you go to the other one and ask them what they were doing. And they're like, I'm building a church. And I think it makes world of a difference when you have the end vision of what you're trying to accomplish. And that's what we try to do with our partnerships. Always have the end goal in mind. We are building a church. We're not breaking stones right now.
Rajneesh, thanks for joining us on the show, my friend.
Thanks. It's been a pleasure, Ben.